What's up, everybody? Mac here from CombatOdds.ca. We're talking UFC 265, the post-weigh-in show. UFC 265 goes down tomorrow from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Interim heavyweight championship on the line. Houston's own Derrick Lewis and France's Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane has a chance of becoming the first French-born fighter to hold the championship in the UFC. Pretty interesting. All right, we'll get right to it in 1 second. All right, what's up, guys? Mac here, CombatOdds.ca. We're breaking down UFC 265. The weigh-in happened. It started at 10 a.m., ended at about 11:45, actually. I'll give we'll get the whole results for everything that we saw from the weigh-ins. Everybody made weight except for one fighter, and the heavyweight main event between Derrick Lewis and Ciryl Gane. Derrick Lewis came in at 264.5 pounds. He's the plus 290 underdog to Ciryl Gane, who came in at 247 pounds at minus 345. I've said this multiple times. You know, Ciryl Gane, he's 6-0 in the UFC. 3 of his 6 wins have come by decision. And Derrick Lewis, 16-5 in the UFC. 12 of his 16 wins by stoppage. Although he has won 4 by decision, he's turned a huge profit. Even with a 4-17 record, Derrick Lewis has turned a wild profit of plus 9.55 units on the decision prop. So yeah, he came in at almost the max, almost at championship weight, 264.5, and Ciryl Gane coming in a much leaner guy. The way I look at this fight, it's pretty simple. To me, honestly, Ciryl Gane probably wins this fight by decision, or Derrick Lewis knocks him out. So you're talking about a plus 200 prop and a plus 450 prop. So, I kind of like you. What you can kind of set yourself up where you wager Ciryl Gane maybe in a parlay with another fighter, and then you could also have Derrick Lewis by KO is sitting right now at like plus 450. So that's, there's a way that you could come at this fight from both sides. You can also just straight up, split a half unit between Ciryl Gane by decision and Lewis by KO. Although I will admit there's definitely a large chance that Gane can win this fight inside the distance. So you leave yourself open to get middled if that's what you're trying to. If you're going to try to come in at both sides, I'm still not fully decided. My best bets are out, and I had the problem with doing the look ahead spot is that sometimes, sometimes the line moves in your favor and you get the best of the line, and sometimes it doesn't. So I had Ciryl Gane in a parlay, with a fighter that the line's gone the other way, and we'll talk about that fight in a second. But yeah, follow along on all the social media platforms, Combat Odds HQ, on Twitter, on Instagram, and even on TikTok. And we got, like I said, the best bets and the free picks are on CombatOdds.ca right now. And if you want the best bets, I got about 6 or 7 of them. Patreon.com/CombatOddsHQ. It's $5 Canadian a month, and you get every MMA combat sports bet that I'm placing. And you like this setup? This is the StreamYard. You want to ever do something like this yourself? Use the promo link in the on the screen here, and you get $10 off your StreamYard subscription. And then we're also doing a little something with OddsJam. Awesome little tool that I use, and a great tool. I did a video about it for doing the arbitrage, which you can. It's not really necessarily an arbitrage. It's setting up yourself a middle, but they have a calculator where if you could set up a spot where you want to go, plus 200 on Ciryl Gane, plus 450 on Derrick Lewis, and you can. It's a calculator where you can set your stakes. So it's definitely, along with all the odds that are listed and through all the books, it's just a great service. So yeah, sign up. It links in the description. Sign up using that, and you get some money off your subscription. And all right, let's go. Leave your questions in the chat. Let's get started. That's the main event. Our co-main event is a men's bantamweight fight. Jose Aldo came in at 136 pounds. He's the -110 favorite against Pedro Munhoz, who also came in at 135 pounds, even money underdog. This one's pretty interesting. Pedro Munhoz, he's won 6 of his last 9. 3 of those fights he's won inside the distance. And then Aldo, he's 4-5 since that loss to McGregor, with 3 of those 5 losses coming inside the distance. I see a lot of people are all over this Aldo, and also fight goes the distance. And I got to say, I actually like this fight not to go the distance. I think that there's some good value on fight goes the distance no here. Both of these guys are just gonna, we've seen them both. We've seen them both talk in interviews leading up to this fight that they were both just gonna stand in the pocket and bang. And we're not gonna see. This is not going to be a staring contest similar like what the main event might end up being, is just a straight up staring contest for a good 7.5 minutes. These guys are just they're gonna trade leg kicks. They're gonna stand in the pocket, and I feel like one of them's gonna go down. And this is one of those fights where I think it's super close. If you had to force me to make a pick, I have a pick on this, and it's Pedro Munhoz, because you just got to go with you absolutely have to go with the plus money. It's a close fight, and then we're talking about the judges factor here, right? So I think that you almost have to consider that with almost every pick that you make here. Where if you're I've seen a lot of people that are saying, Jose Aldo, he's good for 2 rounds, and all we need is 2 rounds for him to win this fight. But I said this in one of my other videos, so just to relitigate it again, if Aldo's getting beat up in that last round, right? He might be good for the start of the fight. He might be good for a little bit of that second round. He might start to fade at the end part of the second round. He comes out in the beginning of the third round, and he starts to look bad. He starts to fade. He's getting beat up. He's sucking air. How many times have we seen these brutal judges weigh the third round way more than they weigh the first round? And I don't know what it is, but this just has terrible decision written all over it. And if there's that type of volatility, I want the plus money side. So I like Pedro Munhoz in this spot. And then the feature bout's a good one. I wrote an article about this one for MMA Sucka, which is just a sweet MMA outlet. Vicente Luque and Michael Chiesa is the feature welterweight bout on this card. The last three fights on this card are just bangers. Luque came in at 170 pounds. He looked good. Michael Chiesa came in at 170 and a half pounds. He looked pretty good too. He looked kind of sucked out. He looked like he just came out of the sauna. He made a joke to the guy operating the scale, saying don't set that to 155, because I think it was set at like 135 before that. But yeah, Vicente Luque minus 110 favorite, and Chiesa is the even money underdog. And Luque comes in, he's riding a 3-fight winning streak. And with all three of those wins coming by way of stoppage, across all 13 of his wins in the UFC, all but one of them, Luque has come inside the distance. He's only gotten the distance 4 times in his UFC career, with all 3 of his UFC losses coming away at decision. So he's never been stopped either. If Chiesa is going to win this fight, I think it'll likely come by way of decision, in my opinion. And then, Chiesa, he's riding a 4-fight winning streak himself. Last 3 wins coming by way of decision. He's no stranger to ending fights, though, inside the distance. 6 of his 11 UFC wins have come inside the distance. He's got like 6 rear naked choke stoppages. The thing, unlike Luque, though, Chiesa has been stopped 4 times in his career, and 3 by way of submission, and then 1 doctor stoppage. So he has never been knocked out. And I think that Chiesa's most likely path to victory in this fight, just based on the numbers, based on what we've seen out of Luque, and how it would be an outlier for him to come out there and stop Luque. I think the most likely way that he wins this fight is by decision. And Chiesa is riding a three of his last 4 wins have been by decision. He's still incredibly dangerous as a grappler, though. He has fight-ending jiu-jitsu, but he's going to be in tough against Luque. And Luque's trained with the likes of Gilbert Burns, and who's a high-level BJJ guy himself. And he's coming in with a much more formidable skill set when it comes to overall striking. So like I said, Chiesa is going to have to stay out of the pocket, first of all, for as long as possible. And he's going to have to time his entries very carefully against Luque, who's, hard hitting. He's got 1-touch knockout power. We've seen him knock out Tyron Woodley. He's got the KO power. I seen somebody ask in one of my on the chat on Wednesday if Luque by KO at like plus 280 is a good bet. And it is a good bet, but I feel like you're kind of just being greedy because Luque is at a minus 110 favorite. So why why risk him winning the fight either by decision or winning the fight by submission when you could just, up your stakes if you think if you're confident that he's going to win by KO. Honestly, like, I just don't like that volatility. Not in this fight, because this fight's going to, even a great example, right? Like, look how he won against Woodley. Everybody remembers him knocking Woodley out or, dropping Woodley, but he won that fight by submission. So you got to be careful, and while Chiesa, his striking does not match up well against Luque, his ability to slip those hooks in defensively to nullify Luque, similar to what Woodley did to Luque at the start of that fight, that's going to be the make or break factor in this matchup. If Luque ends up being able to evade that kind of defensive striking from, or just like anti-boxing from Luque, if Luque is able to connect and avoid that anti-boxing from Chiesa in the what little time that he's going to have, because Chiesa is probably just going to smother him and hug him and try to get him to the ground as fast as possible. With what little time he has in that pocket is his fight to win. Otherwise, if Chiesa, he can get on his hips, he can take Luque's back. I won't say he can take his back at will, because Luque, like I said, he's been training with the likes of like Gilbert Burns and stuff like that. I don't know. Like I said, I still feel like Chiesa, his most likely path to victory in this fight, in my opinion, is by decision, is by similar to how he beat Neil Magny. But on the other side, if Luque can connect, do damage in what little time he has, I think that Luque might be. This is one of those spots where I kind of have to go against what I just said about it's a close fight. I want to go on the plus money side. Listen, Vicente Luque opened as like a minus 175 favorite when this fight was announced, and a storm of money has come in on Michael Chiesa, pushing the line to where it is now at almost a pick'em at both sides. And Chiesa, he's been lined as an underdog in 7 of his 15 UFC appearances. He's won 5 of those 7 fights. Vicente Luque, he's nearing the best odds of his career in this fight because he has never been an underdog in his 16 UFC appearances. You've never been able to get him at plus money. So at minus 110, people who've watched the post show with me and Bleed on Bloodshed, they know I like to ride my guys. If I've won a big bet, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the well, and I like Luque here. I got to go with Luque. And then I also got to say this. I see Dan Goldstein. What's up, Dan? That Chiesa sub is live, a sprinkle just because of the grapple exchange. Luque will give up his back to stand up, but I'm with you either way. The sub prop in my book each round for Chiesa is 13-1 and up to get those odds. Well, this is what that's interesting. I'm not one to bet those. Usually I only bet, money line, decision, inside the distance, total, fight goes the distance. That's just the way that I stay disciplined. Not saying that those other types of props, especially if you're able to, set your stakes properly, maybe that's something I should get into. But what I was getting at is the thing about these two guys, just got to pull up my notes for this matchup here. The thing about Chiesa has 6 of 11 wins inside the distance. Luque 12 of 13 wins inside the distance. Chiesa has been subbed 3 times, 1 decision loss, I believe, and Luque, all of his losses are decision losses. So here it is. In 15 of Chiesa's, in Chiesa's 15 fights, he's only gone the distance 5 times. In Luque's 16 fights, he's only gone the distance 4 times. You might see what I'm getting at here. I like fight goes the distance, no. Going kind of on the flip side of what I said, I think, fight goes the distance, no. I got it plus 110 at William Hill. There's a free pick right there. But based on what I said about my most likely, in my opinion, the most likely path to victory for Chiesa is to win this fight by decision. I still think, I agree with what you said, Dan Goldstein. I still think that there's some value on fight goes the distance no here, because Chiesa is going to have to go into the fire, right? He's going to have to step into the fire to be able to, get those hooks in, to take his back standing. But the fight starts standing. So if it's a blowout one way or the other, the fight's not going to go the distance. And I feel like there's either going to be violence, or Chiesa's going to get him down and just work him. And Luque is not a slouch on the ground. He's pretty talented on the ground. I don't know if he's as talented as Michael Chiesa, but I feel like I'm not overly confident in it. You know what I mean? I would say that I'm more confident that Luque wins this fight than I am that this fight doesn't go the distance. But I'm still rather confident that this fight doesn't go the distance. All right. Next one. This one I like. This is a great matchup. Women's strawweight fight. Tecia Torres came in at the strawweight championship weight at 115, and she's a minus 135 favorite. Angela Hill came also in at 115 pounds. She's the plus 120 underdog. And I got to say, this is another one. There's so many coin flip fights on this card. And it's not really hard to get a full card of plus money positions on this card, because there's so many coin flip fights. Tecia Torres, she's 5-4 in her last 9 UFC fights. All 4 losses coming by way of decision. Angela Hill, she's 5-4 as well, with 2 of her last 5 wins coming by way of stoppage. She's been known to stop fights. And this is one thing. This is my angle here. I like fight goes the distance no in this fight, because if you've heard me talk about this time and time again, the women's strawweight division, and you would think that the smallest hitting division in the UFC might not have that many stoppages, but you would be surprised that 40.9% of fights in the UFC women's strawweight division since January of 2020 have gone under the betting total. 18 and 26 for 8.92 units profit on the under in women's strawweight. So 40.9%. Put the implied probability together. This fight is sitting at like plus 300 on the fight goes the distance no. It's a positive EV spot, win or lose spot. I'm going fight goes the distance no here. I know Tecia Torres, decision machine, but Angela Hill, I think Angela Hill is live to be able to stop this fight just with her striking. And I'll say this is one thing that we need to consider going into Houston. This is why I like backing Angela Hill and fight goes the distance no, both at plus money spots, because if Angela Hill wins, even she wins by decision, it's covering your loss on the fight goes the distance, no, or the under 2.5 rounds. Angela Hill is the more crisper, boxing-oriented striking, right? She's got kind of just like the more, I guess I wouldn't say, yeah, I guess she has the more not like flashier style. She's got just a more boxing-oriented, flashy style. And, you know, in Houston, like I said before, we're getting to the B team here. A lot of judges that they just borrow from, you know, Texas doesn't even have a athletic commission. They have like a department of licensing and regulation. So it's corrupt. So if they have some bum that's going to call this fight, that's going to judge this fight, he probably has more of a boxing background. And because of that, I feel like you should go with the more boxing oriented fighter, because everybody thinks this fight's going the distance. You know, the line on this fight goes the distance. No, it was at like minus 275, and it's been steamed all the way up, I believe, to like minus 300, minus 340. Jesus, look at the Cheyenne Bay's fight. You know, everybody was all over fight goes the distance. Yes, me included. And look what happened. Yet again, another strawweight fight. So, man, yeah, fight goes the distance. No, I like, and then I also like Angela Hill at plus money in this fight. Yeah, but you know, I advocate highly against. I do not bet fight goes distance, yes, as a parlay spot. Absolutely do not do that. You know, the implied, it just doesn't make sense to do that. It's just not, you know, the historical results are not in your favor. You know, at minus 340, that line is just completely priced out. Sorry about the background noise. I'm doing this show usually in the middle of a little bit later in the evening, so there's not as much hustle and bustle going on. And I got some new neighbors, so they got a dog barking. So apologies for that. But yeah, we're looking at minus 340, 77.3% chance. That's what you're betting into. 77.3% chance. That's what the line is saying, that it's a 77.3% chance that this fight goes the distance. And we've seen it. I just explained it. For 60% of these fights, only 60% of the fights have gone over the betting total. So the books are ripping you off by a good 17% of implied probability there. So yeah, the value's on the other side no matter what. And close fight, I want to be on the dog side. And this has got to be I'm going to look from the results from last week. This has got to be, so many fights on this card are coin flip fights. I'm going to check and see what the coin flip outcomes. This is another one. The coin flip dog. The coin flip dog in the women's strawweight division has won 66% of fights since January of last year, 8-4. 8 of 12 fights that have been coin flip fights. So between a favorite line of minus 150 to a dog line of even money. Any fight with a favorite of minus 150 or better, 8 of the 12 fights the dog has won in the past year and a half. So not necessarily something that not with these women who are, you know, higher ranked strawweights, but, you know, something that I still track. And I'm going to pull up here. What's the overall, overall coin flip fight outcome over the last year? I got that here at CombatOdds.com. I'm just going to pull it up. I don't think either side has been profitable, the coin flip favorite or coin flip dog. Damn, I don't have it. I'm gonna pull it up. 1 second. So yeah, and then once we get to the next fight, the last fight of the opening fight of the main card, that's another coin flip fight. So there's quite a few. You know what? Actually, every fight on this main card, besides the main event, is a coin flip fight. There's Aldo, Munhoz is minus 110 even money. Luque, Chiesa is minus 110 even money. Tecia, Torres, Angela Hill minus 135, plus 135. And Kenney, Song Yadong is minus 110 even money. So yeah, the coin flip favorite 46, 37, and 4 so far in 2021. Coin flip dog 37, 46, and 4. The favorite minus 3.15 units profit or units loss. The coin flip dog minus 3.64 units loss. So the favorite has won. The coin flip favorite has won 55% at 46, 37, and 4. So that's pretty interesting. The coin flip favorite has been edging it out, but the coin flip dog has been edging it out in this division. And that's just as simple as, you got to go with the dog sometimes in these fights, especially, I would say that I bet you that a bunch of those, at least 2 of those fights were title fights, So, yeah. Is the background noise like incredibly bad? I got like a whole city going on behind me. Okay, so we'll go to Kenney here. The opening fight on the main card. Kenney is I believe, a minus 110 favorite. Minus 120 now. Song Yadong, plus 110. Kenney, 5-2 in the UFC, 4 of his 5 wins coming by way of decision. Yadong Song, 5-1-1 in the UFC with 3 of his 5 wins coming by way of stoppage. I like in this fight. This is a fight I like Kenney as a pick, but on either side of this, this is another one where you really can't make a case against betting either side. If anybody's on Yadong Song, I'm not going to say you're on the wrong side. I'm not against betting either side in this fight. To me personally, I think Kenney wins this fight. I wish he was at plus money. I'm probably going to bet Kenney because he's at a good enough price that it matches up with my confidence that he's going to win. But again, this fight more than likely goes the distance, right? Kenney has gone the distance in 6 of his 7, and Yadong Song has gone the distance in 4 of his 7. This fight it's probably going to go the distance, and this is a fight now. No, like you see, minus 164, fight goes the distance. Yes, now we're talking, right? Now we're talking the implied probability versus the reality, the actual, the proposition that you're getting here based on the probability of the event occurring. Now we're talking value. This fight more than likely goes the distance. These guys, this is just and another thing, Yadong Song has been involved in some sketchy decisions in his UFC career. He's had 2, I believe Chito Vera beat him, and then the Kyler Phillips fight was, I believe, was a split decision. I don't know if I disagree with that. I feel like Kyler Phillips probably did win that fight. but he won the fight. That was the fight that he lost. He won the fight against Cheeto, and I don't think he won that fight. I feel like Cheeto Vera got robbed. So there's some favorable decisions for this fighter here. But yeah, I feel like fight goes the distance. Yes, is a solid parlay spot on this card in this fight. And I wouldn't have a problem. This is the type of thing too. I've said it a million times. My handicapping is that Casey Kenney wins this fight by decision, but I'm not going to bet Casey Kenney by decision because that's kind of like a correlated parlay, right? Because you're betting the fighter plus the outcome. So I'd rather split it up. And I like fight goes the distance, yes, and minus 164 a lot. And I like Casey Kenney. I think Casey Kenney wins this fight. Song Yadong, his striking's just not his. It's not even that it's not there. It's just that he doesn't dictate the fight. He's always answering back. That's what I've picked up. Like he's always just answering back. He's always, I don't know. At least his 3 stoppage wins that he's had have kind of been against lower level talent. But when he stepped up to that, that fringe level of the rankings in bantamweight, like that when he's fought those guys who are also breaking into the rankings like he is, it's been a bunch of wacky, bunch of fights that have gone decision, like a draw, and then the fight that went to decision against Cheeto Vera that he won, that was sketchy. And then the split decision loss to Kyler Phillips, that was sketchy. He just has a way of, he just doesn't dictate the pace. He's always answering back. Like, I don't know. I feel like this fight is destined to go the distance. And I feel like this fight is destined to be a brutal decision. Oh, yeah, Cody Stamann was the draw that he had. Like you look at his record, Cody Stamann, Marlon Vera, and Kyler Phillips were all. Oh man, I was actually incorrect. That Kyler Phillips fight was not a split decision, which is ridiculous. And then the Marlon Vera fight wasn't a split decision, which is also ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, you look at his record, he really didn't fight anybody of note. Alejandro Perez, okay, and he won that fight. He won that fight inside the distance, but Cody Stamann, majority draw. Cody Stamann, decent name, breaking into the rankings. Marlon Vera, really good name, breaking into the rankings. That he should have lost that fight, he won. And then Kyler Phillips breaking into the rankings. I feel like he should have won that fight. He lost. So, yeah. And then Casey Kenney, I was on him last time against Dominic Cruz. I thought Dominic Cruz looked good in that fight. I didn't have any problem with that decision. But him too, man. He's quite, Nathaniel Wood, Haley Alatang, and then Louis Smoka. He did have that stoppage win against Louis Smoka, but Louis Smoka's kind of just a wild man. So yeah, I like fight goes the distance, yes, quite a lot in this one. All right, so this is a good one. The feature bout in the prelims, Bobby Green, and it was nice to see him. He came in at 156 pounds. He's the plus 250 underdog against Rafael Fiziev, 155.5 pounds, who's at minus 275. This is a really good one. Fiziev, heavy favorite here. He's 3-1 in the UFC. 2 of his 3 wins have come by way of decision. His last win was that Super nice stoppage victory over Moicano. And then Bobby Green, 9-6-1 since his 2012 Strikeforce debut. 6 of his last 9 wins have come by way of decision. This is another guy. This is like almost the same thing that I'm about to say, that I just said about Yadong Song, although this is different in a slight way. But Bobby Green is a decision machine. He's also the type of machine that where he turns out he's a split decision or a robbery machine. You know, he has a way of fighting that is just not, it does not please the judges. He puts his hands down, he gets punched in the face, and he shakes his head just like, oh, that didn't hurt. And he reacts every single time he gets hit. So, you know, the judges see that, and, you know, they react to that. Whereas he hits his opponent, like in the Moises fight, and Moises just has the poker face, right? And Bobby Green is reacting or taunting, you know, every time he lands with his hands down, you know, getting clocked right in the chin, leading with his chin, you know. And I thought this is one where if he was anybody else, I would be like, no, you got to go with if this fight is going to go the distance, if Bobby Green wasn't himself, right? If he wasn't the charismatic or, you know, just the character that he is, I would say you got to go with the plus money side, because a lot, you know, the prevailing opinion here is that the fight goes the distance. And if the fight goes the distance, you probably, even if you're at 1-1, right? Even if the fight is at 1, if it's 28-28 going into the third round, and you got a plus 250 dog, win or lose, I'm okay with that going into that. You know, anything could happen, right? Pretty much anything could happen where you could win that fight at that point, either by a bad decision or your dog ends up winning inside the distance. The difference here, though, is that Bobby Green just has, if the fight goes the distance, he's not at any advantage at all. And Fiziev has that matrix style of, you know, that Muay Thai style of just like he ducks, you know, he's ducking kicks, bending backwards and stuff like that. He's got the almost an opposite style of Bobby Green, where his style is very, you know, flashy and what the judges kind of look for, especially what dumb boxing bum judges look for. So I like, you know, I saw the over in this fight, over 2.5 rounds at -150. I like that quite a bit. I think that's a solid spot. Yeah, over 2.5 rounds, -150 at William Hill. That's a free pick right there. Yeah, I think this fight goes the distance. Yeah, and to be honest, as far as a side goes, you could probably make let's use kind of deductive reasoning here, right? If the fight goes the distance, if the fight is, if the market expects this fight to go the distance, right? And Fiziev is a pretty big favorite, and Bobby Green has just this incredibly bad style for the judges. You can kind of, even if Bobby Green outlands Fiziev somehow, you know, you can kind of make a case that there's still a chance that he's going to lose this fight by decision. So, yeah, honestly, I didn't like this fight opened at minus, Fiziev at -145, and then some lucky person on Bet Online came in and dropped a bomb on that, and it moved to like minus 340. But there's been some buyback. But honestly, I see like minus 275 still out there. I feel like that's a parlay piece. That's a good spot. Like that's almost an L word right there, in my opinion, because, like I said, I feel like, 3 out of, I feel like 3 out of 10 times this fight goes to this fight doesn't go the distance. So 70% of the time this fight goes the distance, and I feel like Bobby Green's style judges is just so not what the judges want to see that I could still, even if he lands more, damages more, and I feel like that was this kind of what happened with Thiago Moises, was he outlanded Moises, I feel, a lot, and he still lost that fight because just his style, and just because he reacts to every single time he gets punched in the face. And Fiziev is such a flashy striker that he's going to make those, if Bobby Green has his hands down, which I don't think he's going to do. I hope that he doesn't, because I want this fight to go over the betting total. But as far as who wins this fight, I think Rafa, this guy's super good. Rafael Fiziev, I think, wins this fight. Okay. We're kind of going to go lightning round here. Or I'm just going to speed it up a little bit because we're approaching an hour. Drako Rodriguez came in at 136 pounds. Again, another coin flip fight, men's bantamweight coin flip fight. He's a minus 110 favorite against Vince Morales, who came in at 136 pounds himself. Even money underdog. So let's see. I think I might have this number. This is one I didn't really break down fully based on like fighter by fighter. I'm kind of more doing it. Oh, wow. So the coin flip favorite in the men's bantamweight division has won 13 of the last 23 coin flip fights since January of last year. But the coin flip dog has been profitable since January of 2019, going 20-20. So the coin flip fights have gone straight down the middle, 20-20 in the past 2.5 years. So that's pretty interesting. I like the under in this fight, just a general principle. We got two unranked bantamweights. I feel like it's a close fight. I feel like both guys have the ability to win this fight by stoppage, and you got a fight goes the distance no, and an under 2.5 rounds prop at plus money. And those are my two plays on this one. It's pretty much, I don't have much more to say about that, but value plays. I also like Morales. Not really confident, but I'm confident, but I'm not overly confident. It's definitely a 1% play for me, but I liked what I saw out of him more so. I'd like the under in this fight too. I like fight goes the distance no and the under. Under 2.5 rounds, I see it plus 120 at 5 times. Fight goes the distance no at plus 105 at Betway. Yeah, you probably find a better line somewhere else than that. But anyways, the next fight. Let's see what you guys are saying. Do you have stats on how often bantamweight fights inside the distance? Well, Chris, I just said I don't have the fight goes the distance. Maybe I should start doing that because the site that I use doesn't really it sorts by division, but it doesn't have fight goes distance yes, no. It just has the unders. So the under has cashed in let's see, 38. The under has cashed in 38 of the last 80 38 of the last 80 bantamweight fights since the start of 2020. 38 and 42 for plus 8.24 units. So 47.5%. So just by principle, this is like kind of sometimes how I handicap these fights sometimes, especially these lower ranked fights. Just by principle, on that stat alone, that trend alone, 38 and 42 for plus 8.24 units. So sometimes these stats are useful even if they don't make profit. Like if you got a favorite, just for instance, the favorite in the bantamweight division has won 52 of 80 fights since January of last year, 66.7%, but it hasn't turned a profit, minus 1.8 units, but 66.7%. So that just gives you an idea based on how many times the odds makers are correct in this division. Something that works more, like I've said many times, it works more when you're talking about the lower rankings, outside of the rankings, unranked fighters, the prelims and the fight nights and stuff like that. But the under has made profit, 8.25 units. So this is a stat where based on implied probability at 47.5%, in theory, any under at plus 111 or better is a positive EV play in this division. It has been since January of 2020, and it will continue to be. Those numbers will change here and there. You might get a big streak of fights that go over, but if you're getting plus money, plus 110, plus 111 or better in an unranked bantamweight fight, apart. And like I said, I feel like I've seen the tape. I didn't look into it big, but watch both these guys' last fight. I think they both got stopping power, and I feel like they both can be stopped. So I like the under here. Simple as that. Basically, not overly impressed with either fighter. I do like Morales. I think him it's again as simple as close fight. I think the value's on the plus money side, and this is. I sound like a broken record, but like I said, I'm going to count it up. There is so many coin flip fights on this card. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 14 fights. Half of them are coin flip fights. So yeah, a lot of that where you just say, it's a close fight. I'm going to go on the side of plus money. Next one, I'm going to speed it up some more. Next one, light heavyweight fight. We have not seen that many light heavyweight fights. 205 pounds. Ed Herman came in at 205.5, actually. He's the plus 210 underdog. Alonzo Menifield came in at 204.5. He's the minus 240 underdog, 240 favorite. Herman, he is 4-4 in his last 8 UFC appearances, with 3 of his last 4 wins coming by inside the distance. And Alonzo Menifield, he's 3-2 in the UFC, with all 3 wins coming inside the distance. And yet again, folks, this is another one. Fight goes the distance. No is a solid look. I see it at minus 260 at Bet Online. That might be steep, but this fight is not going the distance. Alonzo Menifield is a gas can. He's good for one solid round. He's very dangerous for one solid round. But Ed Herman is a lot of things, but I don't think he's chinny. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, albeit, 2 of those fights are against lower level guys. And the one of those fights, it was just like an outright cheat job where he kind of faked a groin strike and got some time back, and then came back and won the fight. His opponent gassed out, and he came back and won the fight. This is one of those things where the longer this fight goes, it will exponentially tilt towards Ed Herman, because Ed Herman is, he's a veteran. I feel like he has the most fights in UFC history. That might be incorrect, but I feel like that was something that Anik said during the weigh-ins. Yeah. The longer that this fight goes, the more that it favors Ed Herman. But by no means am I saying that I feel like Herman should be the underdog here. This line has kind of gotten out of hand at minus 230 for Alonzo Menifield. I feel like there is a way that Herman can win this fight. But I also feel like fight goes the distance. No, solid parlay piece here, because this fight is not going the distance. And yeah, you probably could. Dan Goldstein, this is a live bet after round one. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big live bet guy. I'm more just because I'm usually like working. I'm usually like doing breakdowns and stuff like that, like, or getting the results page up. But yeah, you're definitely right. That is a live bet spot for sure. There's actually quite a few. Honestly, I would say this is something that I thought about coming into this. I would say, because how many times have we seen it? I thought I saw somewhere that Miranda Maverick was like a minus 1,000 favorite at the end of the fight against Macy Barber. I don't know if that's accurate, but either way, I would say most of these fights you probably make money every single time on this card betting the plus money side after 3 rounds before the judges' scorecards are revealed. Like, there's going to be a ton of fights. There's going to be a ton of fights that are going to piss people off, where everybody thinks one person's going to win and the other side wins. I promise you that's going to happen. So this is a dog-heavy card. And with that, I honestly like Ed Herman. Do I think that he has a very good chance of getting clean knocked out cold within the first 2 minutes of this fight? Yeah, but I feel like he's savvy enough to be able to avoid that. Hopefully he his grappling, he's going to have to rely on his grappling to kind of wear on Alonzo Menifield for, kind of tire him out for that little brief window that he's dangerous. But like I said, if he can get past that point where, Menifield starts breathing heavy, which won't take that long. Ed Herman's the veteran. He's been there many, many times. He's like the light heavyweight Darren Elkins. And Ed Herman at plus 200, man, I like it. I'm not overly confident in it, but I like it. Okay, so here we go. This is my, I won't call it my main event, but, I'm a big fan. Big fan. And it's been a disappointing ride for the last little bit. One moment. All right. If you guys could give a thumbs up on the, like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, I would highly appreciate it. I do this weigh-in show for all the pay-per-views, and we do the Q&A every Wednesday for all the fight weeks. We won't be doing one next week because there's no UFC card, but Wednesday nights, usually at 10 o'clock. I did the last one at 8 o'clock, but every Friday afternoon here as well. So yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we have Manel Kape, my man, the former, actually, no, I'll talk about, I already started. I'll talk about Kowalkiewicz, Jessica Penne next. But yeah, Manel Kape, the former Ryzen men's bantamweight champion, comes to the UFC last year. He was the backup fighter for the championship bout with Figueiredo and Moreno. And Figueiredo was sick. We came so close to getting Moreno Kape for the flyweight belt. Didn't happen. And then Kape fights Alejandro Pantoja. Looks, I don't know what he was doing. He was just low volume, kind of a staring contest. He got outstruck. At the time, I thought he got robbed, but, went back and watched it a couple of times. He lost that fight. But then Mateus Nicolau, his next fight, 100% got robbed. 100%. He should have won that fight. So he's 0-2 in the UFC. And to make things even better, my man comes in 3 pounds overweight, tuning into the weigh-ins, all these fighters coming up onto the scale, and he's just sitting, his name is just sitting there blank because he ends up being the last guy to the scales. 15 minutes to spare too, which is always not a good sign, right? If you're struggling to make weight. 15 minutes to spare, 3 pounds over, the fight's still on. He's fighting Ode Osbourne. The fight's still on. He's going to submit 20% of his purse. Super disappointing. I don't know. He's got to look. He's looking pretty stout for a flyweight, man. Like, I feel like he's grown, or I don't know. He's filling out. He's still pretty young, but he's filling out. So yeah, it's super disappointing. I was so high on this guy. I was like, this guy can be the flyweight champion without a doubt. He held his own against against Horiguchi in Rizin. He beat Asakura. He fought Asakura twice, and he got robbed the first time, and then he knocked him out his last fight before coming to the UFC. Guy's super impressive, but honestly, I don't know if I can't think of, usually these stories of guys coming over have been successful. This guy is just, I can't think of a bigger fall from grace. He has to win this fight. And this has a lot to do with my handicapping for this fight, in my opinion. I liked the under in this fight quite a bit. I'll say this. So, yeah. So, he comes in, Manel Kape comes in as the minus 200 favorite, and Ode Osbourne, 125 pounds. He's a minus 170 underdog, minus 175 to minus 170. And like I said, Kape 0-2 in the UFC, both of his losses coming by way of decision. And he's 6-5. He's 6-5 since that blew my mind. Since his 2017 Rizin debut, he's gone 6-5 in his last 11 fights. And he's fighting Ode Osbourne's 2-1 in the UFC. All 3 of those fights ending by stoppage. I feel like this is pretty simple because I'm going to speed it up here, but this is pretty simple. Manel Kape needs to win this fight, and he can't go out there and try to style on this guy. He needs to go out there head hunting, right? And Ode Osbourne has shown he's got stopping power for 125 pounds. He's a wild man. He's willing to take a shot to give a shot, which makes this this is going to be a scrap. Manel Kape can't get a bonus now because he missed weight, but I feel like this. Everybody's got Aldo Munhoz slated for fight of the night. I feel like this might be fight of the night because Manel Kape needs a win, and he needs he can't. His style is either go out there balls to the wall and just be, an aggressive maniac with very, very slick striking, but he also has this game where he's just ultra patient and, boxes and sits around and just, measures and styles and, gets punched in the face and smiles at his opponent like he did with Pantoja, stuff like that. But I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think we're going to see that. We're going to see he's going to be ultra aggressive. He needs a win. And, you know, all things considered, Manel Kape is better than Ode Osbourne. I'm not – I have no – like, I'm 100% certain that Manel Kape wins this fight. But, no, sorry, I'm not 100% certain that he wins this fight. I'm 100% certain that he's the better of these two fighters. But he's going to have to come out here ultra aggressive. And against a guy, I don't think he's going to be willing, especially coming off two back-to-back, one bad decision and one outright robbery. He's not going to let this fight go to the judges' scorecards, you know, if he's smart. So he's going to come out there headhunting. He needs a win and he needs a stoppage. And I feel like he's going to put himself outside of his comfort zone, probably, if he's smart and if he is the guy that we think he is. And he's going to go out there to get this stoppage. And because of that, he's going to put himself in some vulnerable positions. And we've seen Ode Osbourne get stopped and win by stoppage twice. So looking at this fight, again, under 2.5 rounds. Wow, this is interesting. Fight goes the distance, no. Oh, I guess that's why. Yeah, fight goes the distance, no, is at -105. And then under 2.5 rounds is at +110. So, yeah, I like that quite a bit. I do not think this fight goes the distance. Someone's getting stopped here. And is there value on Ode Osbourne? 100%. Because at +180, Manel Kape, like I said, he's going to go out there headhunting. And a guy who's usually very measured in his striking and just in the way that he engages in his entries, I feel like he's going to go out there with a chip on his shoulder because of the 0-2, because of the 2 bad decisions, and now because of missing weight. This guy could be out of the UFC with a loss, especially a guy like Ode Osbourne. So, yeah. Fight goes the distance, no, is a solid look here. And I'm not overly confident in it. I'm a Manel Kape fan through and through, but there is some good value on Ode Osbourne here. For sure, I'll say that. Okay, so Karolina Kowalkiewicz came in at 115 pounds. Jessica Penne came in at 116 pounds. Kowalkiewicz -125 favorite. Another coin flip fight. Penne +120. I don't have totally much to say about this one. 2 lower rated flyweights or straw weights. And like I said, close fight. Got to go with the plus money side here. And got to go with the under. This is one where, or got to go with fight goes the distance. No, this is one that's gotten way out of hand. Way out of hand. Fight goes the distance. No. Sitting at like -400 some places. Probably one of the darling picks of the week here. And let me say it again. The under in the women's strawweight division has cashed in 18 of 44 fights since January of 2020 in the women's strawweight division. 40.9% of fights have gone under the betting total in the women's strawweight division. Positive EV play is the under here. I see +330 under 2.5 rounds, and then +275 fight goes the distance. No, both these girls are past their prime. I know Kowalkiewicz kind of a foregone conclusion that this fight goes the distance type fighter, but I got to go contrarian here. The market it's just gotten out of hand. I can just tell, this fight goes the distance was at like -300 when it opened, and now it's gone all the way to like -360, and I see even a -400 at some places. Yeah, not. I got to go with the other side. Swelled up spot. I got to go with the other side. Okay, this is one that I'm pretty interested in. Another men's bantamweight fight. Miles Johns came in at 136 pounds, minus 210 favorite against Anderson dos Santos. Came in at 135 and a half pounds. He is the plus 185 underdog. I like Miles Johns here. Basically, I think he can. I think he can finish Anderson dos Santos. I haven't really seen much out of dos Santos. Miles Johns, I feel like kind of underrated. He's got that bad loss to Mario Batista, which I feel like he was undefeated up until that point, I believe, and just uncharacteristic. I don't know what it was. Maybe the moment was too soon for him. I don't know what it was, but he bounced back, looked pretty good against Natividad. But Anderson dos Santos, I don't know. He's suitable. He's I'm just trying not to he's suitable for what the UFC uses him for, but I don't think he's very good, especially compared to Miles Johns. And I feel like Miles Johns might blow through this guy. And there's another fight on this card that I'm going to get to where a lot of people think the other guy's just going to blow through him. And I don't totally agree with it. But this one, I feel like the prevailing opinion is that Miles Johns wins this fight by decision. And I got to be on the other side. I feel like he's going to win this fight inside the distance. And I see fight goes the distance now here at plus 150. Like that a lot. Under 2.5 rounds, plus 165. I like that a lot. And Miles Johns inside the distance, plus 260. I think those are all suitable. Like I said, I've said it a couple of times. The under in the men's bantamweight division is cashed at a 47.5% rate. 38 and 42 plus 8.25 units profit. I've seen a lot of people are talking Johns by decision here, banking on dos Santos's toughness, and I don't doubt his toughness, but it just comes to skill. I think Miles Johns' volume might just smother this guy, and I see a stoppage here. I feel like, especially with the hot crowd, if there is a hot crowd, I feel like this is a violent spot, as Dan Goldstein just said. Okay, Victoria Leonardo, 125 pounds, the plus 100 underdog against Melissa Gatto, 124 pounds, first on the scale, minus 110 favorite. This is another one. I got to kind of be contrarian. This is a card where I feel like you're able to be contrarian pretty decently across the board and not get yourself into some trouble, because man, I've been on a brutal losing streak the past two cards after going like 7 in a row profitable, back-to-back losses, 2 cards in a row, UFC Vegas 32 and 33. So I gotta get it together. And a pay-per-view, though, is the perfect time to do it. We got some swelled up lines because we got a lot of public money, hopefully, or more casual money. So I'm excited to to see the outcomes and to hopefully win some of that, win some of what I've lost and get that back. Okay, so this is a flyweight fight. So the women's flyweights are pretty interesting as well. Another coin flip fight. The underdog in women's flyweight has gone 8-7-1 since January of last year for plus 1.43 units. And this is another one. The under has come in in the women's flyweight division in 21 of the last 45 fights, so 38.2% since January of 2020 for plus 3.81 units. This is one, though. This is quite interesting. So everybody thinks that Gatto's winning this fight inside the distance, or Victoria Leonardo's knocking Gatto out because, Gatto's got some high-level she's just got some high-level grappling, high-level jiu-jitsu, and it just seems like the market expects fight goes the distance no is the chalk line in this fight. And I gotta say, I gotta go contrarian. Fight goes the distance, yes. We're talking about two unranked women's flyweights. One has high level jiu-jitsu. The other one is Victoria Leonardo is not that great, but she's UFC level. She's lost some pretty big fights outside of the UFC, but we're talking about 61% of fights in the women's flyweight division have gone over the betting total. I know the under is the profitable side, but not at minus 138. The under is the profitable side when we're talking about plus 180, plus 200, stuff like that. Not everybody, everybody thinks this fight's not going to go the distance. The steam has come in, or this line has moved substantially to about almost pick 'em when it opened on Fight Goes the Distance to now. I see it as high as like minus 160. So there's more times than not, these types of fights go the distance. You point to a girl like Verna Jandarova, who's got super high level Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and when they matched her up with Mackenzie Dern, even everybody thought that fight. No, there's no way this fight's going the distance. One of these girls getting the stoppage, and look what happened. It went the distance. So, I like the plus money side here. If fight goes the distance, yes. Usually I've said this before. You'll find me hard pressed to find a women's flyweight fight that I'm not betting the under on, and this might be one of them. This is one of them. Fight goes the distance fight goes the distance yes at plus 115. I'm all over that. That's a free pick. All right. First fight on the card, and the last fight that I'll break down. And this is a good one. Johnny Munhoz came in at 135.5 pounds. He is the minus 250 favorite against Jamie Simmons at plus 220. And another bantamweight fight. This is another one. Again, I've seen, we all remember the Shikadze knockout of Johnny Munhoz coming in on super short notice. This is basically a fight between two guys who came in on super short notice, and they're both owed favors, and one is really better than the other. Johnny Munhoz has been a champion in other organizations. He's he's really good, and Jamie Simmons is like lost in 13 seconds to fighters outside of the UFC. He had one fight. I think he had one fight that I think was like his fourth pro fight, and he got knocked out by a guy who was making his UFC or his MMA debut, and then the fight in LFA where he got starched in 13 seconds. So like he's tough, but he's also able to be turned off pretty easily. With that being said, that is the prevailing opinion that Johnny Munhoz wins this fight inside the distance. And I got to say, if you're giving me plus 150 right now, I see it on this fight goes the distance. Yes, I like that quite a bit. Like, I know a lot of people are saying that Munhoz on the money line is maybe the best parlay piece, and I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to have him in my action, to be honest, because he's not. He's good, but he's not good enough to be a minus 255 favorite. Although Jamie Simmons is not very good either. It's funny because, like, if this wasn't in the UFC, there's a lot of intangible factors here. If this fight wasn't in the UFC, like if this fight was in CES or LFA, there would be Munhoz would probably be a way bigger favorite. But because he's in the UFC and because this is in the UFC and there's all these intangible factors, which, you know, the hot crowd, it's the first fight in the first fight on the card, but I like this fight to go the distance simply because I feel like Jamie Simmons has had a full camp. He's going to be, I don't know, this is probably the biggest fight of his life, kind of. Like, a win or lose here dictates his path, his career in the UFC, 100%. Munhoz too, though. So I'm not overly confident in it, but the prevailing opinion here looks to be fight goes the distance, no. And I got to just be contrarian and go fight goes the distance, yes. I see like plus 150 at some books. I feel like this just might be a dull fight where Munhoz has the smart game plan or Simmons, has a smart game plan and kind of just nullifies the danger of Munhoz for as long as possible until he sees that he's starting to gas and he's not as dangerous, and the fight just becomes a stand-up battle between two gassed, not that very good of strikers. Yeah, I feel like this fight goes the distance, yes, at plus 150. What's that on the old trusty implied probability? 40% chance. Do I think this fight goes the distance 4 out of 10 times? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I like that play. Fight goes the distance, yes. That's a free pick. But again, not overly confident in it, but it's just a positive EV play for me. I like it. And then I've seen some people ask me in the chat about or in the Patreon messages about Johnny Munhoz being a viable parlay piece. And I'm not using him. I just don't think he's, I don't know. I don't like him at that price because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I see it like minus 255, but I think that's at DraftKings. FanDuel. Everywhere else he's minus 300. Minus 255 ain't bad, I guess. I don't have a problem with that in considering that you're getting the best of the line. But he won't be in my action. Especially I see it like minus 300, minus 310, some books. He won't be in my action. And it depends. Jamie Simmons won't be in my action too, though. Like, I like a good dog, but he won't be in my action. So, yeah. All my plays, the free picks are up. I just posted them on CombatOdds.ca. But all my best bets are at Patreon, patreon.com/CombatOddsHQ. You can follow for Fight Night. You can follow all the trends and the odds and the prop payouts and all that at CombatOddsHQ on Twitter, Instagram, and even on TikTok. I post the clips from the reactions and stuff like that. And yeah, CombatOdds.ca will have the betting trends for UFC 265 coming up later tonight, and the best bets and the free picks are posted there as well as the weigh-in results. And yeah, hit up Patreon, hit up that StreamYard promo link if you're interested. You get $10 off, and then the Odds Jam betting tool, super very useful tool. Big fans of them. If you want, hit up the video that I did for them for UFC 265, talking about Ciryl Gane by decision and Derrick Lewis by KO, setting up a little middle there, because the tools that they have on their website are perfect for setting up middles and arbitrage spots and stuff like that. All right. So I will be back tomorrow afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern, on the final countdown, the UFC pre-show with Bleed. We're popping off. We're getting to the nitty-gritty of all these fights. We're placing action. We got our the bets on the tips of our fingers for anything that we've missed, and we're slipping out our our free picks and stuff like that. So do not miss that show. It's it's got zero shelf life, because as soon as nobody's watching that show after after the fights have started. No one's watching them after the fights have happened. No one's watching it. It's just a live only show. So be a part of it. It's the perfect palate cleanser, palate refresher to get your night started for a great UFC card. And then of course, Bloodshed, UFC 265 post show, me and Bleed. As soon as the post-fight, as soon as Dana White is done talking, we'll be going live, and we'll be looking ahead. We got next Saturday off, but we got Gaslam, Cannonier, and then we got Spence Pacquiao, which is going to be a good one, and Edson Barboza, Giga Shikadze, that's going to be a good one, and we got Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley. We're going to be talking about that, and yeah. Do not miss that, because we'll be rocking that. Okay. Thanks a lot. We'll be back for the Q&A next Wednesday, I guess, or actually not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. So we'll be back on the 18th for the Q&A. So until then, hit us up tomorrow, and hit us up tomorrow night or Sunday morning. And until then, let's make some money. Hit up CombatOdds.ca, get those free picks. Hit up the Patreon, get my best bets in, returning shit around, how to, UFC Vegas 32, UFC Vegas 33, bullshit out, brutal decisions, brutal outcomes, brutal results, made some, lost some very substantial amount of money, but we're getting it all back, because I've said this many times. It's like, it's like when you're betting on the Oakland A's against the New York Yankees in like a 3-game series, and the A's are a plus 300 underdog in every game. You only need to win one game. So this is such a good card, because we got so many coin flip fights, so much volatility because of these moronic judges, that we might be able to make some money off of some terrible decisions for once, instead of getting robbed of our money. So instead of losing, we're going to turn it all around, and we'll go back to the winning ways, because me and Bleed, before I hit this losing streak, me and him were on a crazy winning streak between me and him. He was on a crazy main event winning streak, and I put together like 7 winning weeks in a row, 7 winning events in a row, including the other MMA events, Bellator, which we do have Bellator in a 1 coming up next. And a PFL as well. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. We're going to do some more content tonight on this channel for the best bets later on, pre-recorded video for Ciryl Gane and Derrick Lewis. But until then, hit us up tomorrow on the final countdown and on Bloodshed. And yeah, thanks a lot for hanging for an hour and a half. Super good stuff. Talk to you later, guys.